Visualize perfection, freshly picked ingredients, tantalizing flavors, sweet and sour intertwine, and dance into your glass. One-of-a-kind arrangements, hitting every note. Why wait for the weekend? It's on at the grill.
As a nurse, I've seen a lot of people with sleep deprivation. It affects their job, their home life. At Room to Room, we want to take the guesswork out of buying a mattress, and that's why we brought in this technology. It shows you what you need. We want to do the assessment and find exactly what's perfect for you.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Welcome back. Again, we got technology figured out, so welcome back to Mississippi Live Weather at 10. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynard, and we are tracking a calm forecast overnight, praise God, but we're also tracking clear conditions, and that's going to be a big driver in our forecast moving forward, especially for any of those spooky plans we may have. As we get into headlines here in the Room to Room Weather Center, we will have our first frost of the year for some. And is your county affected? We'll look at that in detail here in just a moment, but exciting times as the cold weather moves back into the forecast. But we're also tracking our Friday football games staying dry. And that's kind of a key to our forecast for any of those plans we may have, along with trick-or-treating plans tomorrow evening. But that transitions into my next headline, which is Saturday's games may need some rain gear, especially for folks heading out to Oxford. We're not talking about significant rain, but we'll look at that again in full detail coming up at the 10 o'clock hour. So thank you for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time this evening, but we are going to get an action-packed show started. The first 11 p.m., 44 degrees, cooling off overnight. And I know it doesn't say it, but somewhere between that 5 and 8 time frame, about 6, 7 o'clock, it's going to be in the upper 30s with some areas actually the mid 30s. And those are the areas we're watching for that potential first frost of the year. But beyond that, sunshine moves back into the forecast, warms us up, and makes for a fantastic Friday and a fantastic Halloween. Happy Halloween to everyone out there. Let me be the first to tell you as we do transition into that Halloween season. 48 degrees in Starkville. You can see a beautiful night across the area. Dare I say a spooky night there in Starkville as the Bulldogs are getting ready to travel over to Fayetteville to take on the Razorbacks. We'll look at that college forecast in just a moment. But let's also go to our other college town in Oxford. A quiet night. Now this is a frightening view right there. Is that a plane, I think, taking off from the airport out there? And that has a special meaning for me and my wife, actually, because we do have a lock out there that we put together whenever we first started dating. So, shout out. That's pretty cool. 43 degrees, though. Cold night in Oxford already, and it's just 10 o'clock. We're just getting that cooling process started, so I hope you're ready for some cool conditions by our Friday morning. 50 degrees in Saltillo. Folks still on the roadways, and I'm sure if they're like me, they have that heat cranked in the car already, and we'll have it especially towards tomorrow morning. And we'll, of course, look at those lows in just a moment. Our Mississippi Live Weather Radar keeps us dry all evening long, and not even that, but not even a cloud in sight. So nothing to worry about on our radar, but we are looking at that first frost of the year, primarily for northwest Alabama. National Weather Service did discuss it over here in Jackson as well as Memphis for the potential of issuing a frost advisory, but decided to opt against it, and you'll see why in just a moment as lows not trending as cold as what they're getting over there in Alabama, but that's in place for Friday until 9 a.m., so make sure to have those layers handy, and whether you're under a frost advisory or not, it's going to be cold. So have those layers on standby. That goes for Marion County, Franklin County, Lamar, and Pickens County for our viewing area. And for my Birmingham folks, my parents that I hope are watching, bundle up tomorrow morning, family. It's going to be a cold one. Let's zoom things out, and you can kind of see how we're sandwiched between two different frost advisories. So, some National Weather Services wanting to issue it, others not. But I'll say err on the side of caution and go ahead and cover those plants if need be. If you're like me and have a vegetable garden and want it to stay alive through this last remaining part of fall, then put something over it. But make sure to remove it by tomorrow morning so that way it can enjoy some of that heating that we're going to get for tomorrow's forecast. Now, this forecast is fully dictated by that high pressure center out there towards Dallas and Austin, Texas. That cycling in some of that drier and cooler air. And we've been talking a lot about flow. We went over that at the 6 o'clock hour. And we do still have this northwest flow pushing into North Mississippi. What that means is you do have this continental air mass, which is basically a drier air mass in the center of the continent. That's why continental, makes sense. And we're, of course, getting all of that air to cycle into North Mississippi. So we're enjoying what it feels like in Kansas and Nebraska, all the way down here in North Mississippi, even with those frosty conditions for some. As we keep going with our futurecast, overnight, high pressure inches closer to us. I mean, it's coming from the west, working its way east. And by the time we get into the start of our Halloween, you can see high pressure directly towards our southwest. Usually, when the high pressure is positioned to our west, we get drier and clearer skies. Once it gets more to the east, that's where we get some of that moisture returning to the area. So this transition will be taking place overnight. As you can see, 9 a.m. already down there towards Shreveport and working its way across Louisiana. And yes, by the time it gets to Friday afternoon, high pressure will be residing right over the top of us here in North Mississippi. Big reason why that matters. Well, high pressure, whenever you're at the center of it, doesn't have much breezy conditions or any wind gusts. As you can see right here, right over the top of Texarkana and Shreveport, basically nothing. So this flow, this breeze that we're getting right now, going to be coming to a halt as we get into our Friday evening. That's going to be good for kickers out there as we get into our football forecast. But beyond that, once that high pressure shifts towards the east, it will be replenishing just a bit of that moisture. And as our next system moves in, could be supplying it with that moisture to produce a few showers as well. Not an impossibility for Saturday. And we'll break that down county by county in just a moment. 6 a.m., looking at our next 24, 40 degrees. Like I said, mid to upper 30s for those really cold areas. And beyond that, sunshine warming us up, 45 by 9, 59 by noon, and 64 towards our afternoon. So starting colder, ending warmer. That's just Mississippi for you. But that's going to be great for our Halloween forecast. Trick-or-treating, as you can see right there, 6 p.m., 60 degrees. If you're going beyond that point, I know me and my friends did growing up, and just have those layers handy because it will be a cooler forecast and we want everyone to stay warm. Sniffles, a realistic possibility for tomorrow evening. So the way we combat that is by, of course, having that heat cranked in the car, having those layers for those costumes. And if you've not picked out a costume yet, what are you doing? But luckily, you have ways to prepare, and that's by layering it up and having ways to keep that costume warm and keep your kids warm as a result. So coming up in the next 60, what will we be discussing? Well, honestly, guys, it's Thursday. So Friday, we have those Friday night football games. We have our Saturday college football games. We have our Halloween trick-or-treating forecast. We have, let's take a breath. Frost advisories, yeah, a lot going on. We'll look at that in full detail live from the Root Room Weather Center for Mississippi Live Weather at 10 in the next 60.
I don't remember how it started.
What's that?
Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynard.
Cold night on the horizon heading into our Halloween Eve. Yes, this spooky season is upon us, and we have a terrifying forecast for you. Not really. I was just trying to make it Halloween-ish. 48 degrees in Cleveland right now. That is the frightening part of our forecast with how cold, chilly things become by our Friday morning. But clear skies across the region. Great look there in Cleveland, and it's just going to be an active city out there. You saw the lights all on. I love that. It looks like... I know it's Halloween, but it looks like Christmas out there. I don't know what it is. It might be the lights. I don't know. Might be the temperatures, honestly. 48 degrees in Greenville. Feels like 48 as well, so wind chill not exactly a factor right now, but definitely potential for it by our afternoon for our Friday. 46 degrees in Columbus. You can see 45. Pretty clear. Same thing with Highway 82. Only a few cars out and about this evening, but like I said, heat is probably cranked as 46 degrees is only 14 degrees above that freezing threshold, and we're going even closer to that as we head overnight and into our Friday morning. So let's get a look there on Mississippi Live Weather Radar. Clear conditions once again, and this will be the name of the game all throughout our Friday, so get used to hearing that exact terminology. But satellite imagery showing us that there's not even a cloud in sight. If we expand things out, you can definitely get a view of that. Let me click on real quick. That little bit of cloud cover out there towards Huntsville, Birmingham, towards Knoxville. That's that low pressure center fully clearing out of the southeast. But here in North Mississippi, already enjoying those effects, and will continue to stay dry and clear overnight. This does have a cause and effect though. So of course, clear skies. What exactly does that affect? Well, our temperatures. And as you can see across the region, we're already at this morning's lows, like our Thursday morning, what we had this morning, already there, and it's only 10 o'clock at night. So we're 46 New Albany, 43 Oxford, 42 Holly Springs. My word, 30s are inching closer and closer. 43 in Amory, 50 still in Tupelo, but everyone cooling off overnight. If we look at that temperature change, you can definitely see that drastic difference. 5, 6, possibly even 7-degree temperature change, and that continuing into tomorrow morning as well. So have those layers, have ways of staying warm. I'm going to say it about 14 more times for you, so that way that message gets across, because I do not want to see anyone in shorts and a t-shirt tomorrow morning. Just not worth it with the temperatures we'll have. 12 a.m., your midnight hour, 43 degrees, but that kicks off our Halloween and midnight, that spooky time frame. So if you're heading out and about late into your Thursday night, Friday morning, there you go, pretty cool already. 40 degrees by 6 a.m., but like I said, areas talking about mid to upper 30s. Our current low temperature is about 38 degrees, so it's going to be chilly. Futurecast showing those dry conditions and clear skies. Once again, as we get into our Friday morning, you can definitely see that a lot of those temperatures showing 38 in Amory, 39 New Albany, 38 Senatobia, 42 in Cleveland. You get the idea. Pretty cold. Let's look out west or out east though. 34 in Hamilton, 35 in Vernon. You remember where those frost advisories were implemented? Well, northwest Alabama. And you see that threshold right along the Alabama state line. So that's why we didn't fully go into those frost advisories here in North Mississippi. We erred against it, but wouldn't be surprised if a few areas along the state line feel 34, 35 degrees for sure. So, oh man, golly, it's going to be a cold one. But let's go ahead and look at our school bus forecast. And of course, this is the time where we need to bundle up heading out the door, pick up 39 degrees and 64 towards drop off. So, layer up, kids, for that morning commute. And honestly, I don't know if kids wear costumes to school. I guess I could have asked my wife that, but I don't know. If they're wearing a costume, make sure it's warm. That's what my 2 cents about it. But drop off, definitely enough to where you can shed a layer or two, as we'll be dealing with sunny skies and 64 degrees. Pretty warm there across North Mississippi. Let's keep Futurecast going, and you might notice that it is going to be those dry and clear conditions once again. I thought that was my wife telling me what it was, so I apologize for that. But if we keep that Futurecast going, 9 a.m., still those dry and clear conditions. And like we talked about, as high pressure moves closer, those winds not going to be as breezy. And as you can see, right towards our southwest, they're Friday morning inching closer and closer. So this is going to be by noontime on your Friday and continue with those dry conditions. Until that high gets all the way here, we're going to get those northwest breezes, getting that a little bit there from Arkansas all the way into North Mississippi. So yeah, a little bit breezy there by mid-afternoon. But as we get further into that forecast, those winds die off just a bit. Let's go back in here to North Mississippi. You can see that there's very little wind when it comes to our Friday evening plans. And guys, it's dry across the region, so I'm trying to find the story here. That's just how calm things are going to be, and it feels so good to talk about it in that sense because of how active things have been here recently. So we'll take a break here in North Mississippi while we can get it. High temperatures, let's bring it back into North Mississippi. As you can see, 66 degrees in Houston, same thing around Columbus, 65 Kosciuszko, Belzona, Greenwood, 62 towards South Haven. So a little bit comfortable compared to what we're getting in the morning time. 60 degrees around pregame for our high school game of the week forecast presented by Casey Lott. Big thank you to them for partnering with us on this adventure, and of course partnering with us each Friday night. Guys, this is the final week of the regular season, and we're enjoying some great weather, great football weather. Someone told me the other day you can't spell football without fall, and that's the most fitting phrase I've ever heard. So 60 degrees by pregame, 50 by halftime, and that final snap, another cold night expected. So have those layers on standby. If you see me in pants, long sleeve shirt, a sweatshirt, and maybe one more layer, don't be surprised. But I will say, high school game of the week actually started tonight. We have highlights coming from TCPS this evening as Smithville traveled out to Belden. We'll look at those highlights here in just a moment, but that's a little sneak preview before we get into our Friday night plans, which is going to be another exciting one as we have our Halloween, same time frame as those Friday night highlights. Halloween forecast, like we mentioned, 6 a.m., 40 degrees, 57 by 11, 63 by 2, and 60 closer to 6 p.m. So it is going to be a cooler evening once that sun does set. When the sun is up, warms us up nicely. Pretty comfortable conditions there in the low to mid 60s. Let's keep that Futurecast going for that day 2 and day 3 time frames. It's going to be Friday evening. That cloud cover inching closer into North Mississippi. And I'm going to stay over here because I need to kind of guide and direct this system and how things are going to go. So high pressure, what did we say at the start of the show? Where it is matters, because on the west side of the high pressure, where I'm standing, some of that moisture already replenishes into the area, whereas you have those drier, clear skies out there towards the east. So yes, we're getting that moisture replenished and cloud cover returning to the forecast as early as Saturday at midnight. We keep that forecast going. High pressure continues to surge out towards the east and moisture replenishes into the region. That's going to be the big determining factor in regards to how much rainfall we see, is how high those dew points get. And as of right now, they're getting some decent returns, at least enough to produce a few of those pop-up showers. So this is a look at 6 a.m. on your Saturday. If I zoom it back into our home view, these are very, very light. And if my best bet was on this, I would say that this is what we're going to have to happen. We're going to have this happen to replenish the moisture into the area. So that southerly wind aiding in that, but it's going to be that surge of that front that's going to allow for some of that moisture to really push back into the region. So 6 a.m., I would say that we're staying mostly dry, but into the afternoon, that's where some of our decent rain chances return. And as you can see right there, those darker greens already showing up there towards Little Rock. That's noontime, and those continue to expand as we get into that 3 o'clock hour. Why does this matter? Oxford, what are we doing Saturday? Yes, tailgating in the Grove. So that's going to be happening all throughout our afternoon, and with the chance of a few isolated showers, definitely have those tents ready because we don't want to get rained on as we're bringing in those pregame festivities. 6 p.m. kickoff, and we'll look at that forecast in just a moment, but those scattered showers still lingering in the forecast, so could deal with another rain game for at least a start. And hey, for our Rebel fans, they know last week rain was no problem for the Rebels, took down the Sooners. So hopefully that's just a good luck charm as they take on the South Carolina Gamecocks. But again, we'll look at that forecast in just a moment. And when we're talking about rainfall, we're not talking about a significant amount, a couple hundredths of an inch at most. So we're not tracking a ton, but still when rain chances are in the forecast, can definitely impact how our football players play out on the field. So as we get into those high temperatures, 61 degrees there towards Holly Springs, same thing towards Oxford during that afternoon time frame, 63 Water Valley, Starkville, and 64 around Amory. Let's go ahead and get into those football forecasts, what to expect for our college games. First one is the Bulldogs traveling to Fayetteville to take on Arkansas. That is at 3 p.m. on your Saturday. And for that first play, 20% chance of rainfall because this is out west, closer to that system, allowing for some of those isolated showers to develop. 52 closer to halftime and 49 by that final snap. Beyond that initial rain chance, really clearing things out for the rest of the game. It's going to be a good kickoff. Hopefully the Bulldogs can bring home a W. Hopefully the Bulldogs can play 4 quarters, please. But beyond that, our successful team here in North Mississippi, the Rebels, going to be taking on the South Carolina Gamecocks. Going to be a great game over there in Oxford. There's rain chances. They've increased just a bit. I wouldn't be surprised if we up this to 30% by that first play. 57 degrees, 53 by halftime, and 48 towards that final snap. 20% chance lingers all throughout the game. So that's what we're talking about with rain chances. Not going to be overly significant, but enough to maybe impact your pregame tailgates or impact a little bit of those start of the game, the first quarter plans that we may have. So your 7-day forecast, what are we tracking? Well, that 20% chance of rainfall for your Saturday, of course, lining up well with that game day time frame, so prepare accordingly. But beyond that, dry conditions back in the forecast. But we mentioned that this moisture is due to one of those fronts working their way through the region. Not a strong front, but enough that we could cool things off just a bit. So Sunday morning, we're 43, but Monday morning, back into the upper 30s once again. Tuesday morning, 40 degrees, and those warming trends will take place beyond that point as lows get back into the mid 40s and highs back into the low 70s. But plenty of sunshine over the next 7 days for sure. And that's the one good thing we can take with this forecast is we've had a very soggy forecast until now. So make some plans outside. This is a great week for it. So boo Sooners, that's hilarious. Cold in Cumberland for sure. I mean, guys, if you go outside right now, you're going to feel a noticeable difference. So my best bet or my best advice, stay inside, turn on the heat, grab a blanket, and enjoy a cup of coffee. Or not coffee. We'll do hot chocolate. Let's get into that Christmas season. It looked like Christmas in Cleveland. Let's go ahead and enjoy it. All right, let's get into these highlights, why don't we? So this was over in
Rivers Johnson on that stop ball. And that will do it as TCPS wins on senior night, 41-0. And with the win, that means TCPS will finish second in the division and will be back here at home to begin the playoffs next
who doesn't enjoy a little additional football, right? Shout out Will for sending us those highlights. And I know it's just a couple plays, but that gets you in the mood for some of those Friday night football games and our Saturday college football games. And then, of course, we have Halloween on top of that. I'm hoping for some costumes, some people dressing up over at our game of the week in Eupora as East Webster comes into town for Eupora Senior Night. Big game for both of them, and we're excited to get that coverage on there in Eupora. So can't wait to see you guys out there. Hopefully getting to see a couple of you. But yeah, wherever you're at, let us know down in the comments where you're going to be attending Friday night, and send us some pictures too, because we love seeing pictures around the area, especially when it comes to our football games. Okay, it is 10:23. I think I've taken enough of your guys' night. Why don't we wrap this up a little bit? So as you can see at the bottom of the screen, go ahead and download our free app to stay as readily prepared for those trick-or-treating plans. Lets you know wherever you're at. If there's rainfall in the forecast, there won't be, but it lets you know temperatures, and that's going to be the key for our forecast tomorrow. Our next broadcast actually happening tomorrow morning. Meteorologist Maggie McCauley, I know she will have a toasty cup of coffee ready to accommodate for those cold temperatures, 6:37 and 7:30. And then I mentioned this before as well. We will be live at our game of the week at 5, 6, and 10, live from Eupora with highlights at 10 o'clock. Band of the week, Spirit Squad of the week. If you have not voted yet, go do so, because we want to see one of those come out on top. It's a battle within a battle, and I know that it's a heated one between the two teams. You guys have a fantastic night. Thank you for joining me this evening, and we will see you back here bright and early for a cold forecast as we start our Halloween.
Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. Prediabetes does. With early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test today. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org.
You wonder how they're going to experience the real world in real safety, where all kids are welcome and everyone has a path forward to new skills, advancement, leadership, something they will carry with them the rest of their lives.